What it do, shorty? This rapper extraordinaire, Baby Bonez. Here with the first Baby Bonez blog. I'm gonna try to change it up, and going through a brand change by myself. Try get rid of the old logo and get a new logo and move on to some different things, not newer things. Still on the same road, just changing the direction we driving in. But I'm here to talk about things that inspire me. I'm not somebody who's easily outside influenced or less things outside of my own personal life or just things I see influence me. But I do have my own set of influences, and I feel like influences are, something that I guess people want to see behind the artist or behind anything, and something I'm personally curious about. And hopefully you can be curious about it too, I guess. And learn some more about me and why I do the things I do and why I speak the way I speak and why I share the way I share, So I'd like to take a quick moment, pause in this video. If you like my content, please, click the like button. It helps the videos get pushed through the YouTube algorithm. Please go check out my Instagram. What else? Subscribe, tell a friend, just tell a friend, That's it. On the influence number one, I think the only thing that kind of influenced me more than like my own actual living experiences was my hometown, the greatest city in America, Baltimore, Maryland. Being from Baltimore, and I guess a good portion of what it was to be from Baltimore in the early 2000s. I was born in '98, but predominantly raised in the 2000s. Seeing all the real life things. Here we go. Seeing things outside of the wire. I think one thing people from Baltimore hate to do is talk about the wire. I think because we're known for so little. We're known for drugs, and we're known for, drugs, guns, and gangs. The typical, like any other little poor city. But I think it's just a bit annoying, is we do have other things to talk about. At the Ravens, we got crab cakes. We got some of the best food in the world, the lovely Inner Harbor. But one thing I don't want to do is talk about the wire. I don't want to talk about Stringer Bell. I don't want to talk about Navon Barksdale. Seeing a lot of things in the city, like seeing a lot of things in the city, like K-Swift, club music, and actually getting to experience Baltimore's positive energy and some of the capacity in my lifetime, some of it in some capacity before, shoot my knee. Before we got to this point. I think that's another thing on my list of inspirations, or well, I guess that ties into this picture, is the dilapidation of Baltimore City. I remember in my childhood home, a lot of people maybe didn't want to live in our neighborhoods, come to portions of East Baltimore and things like that, and maybe weren't too proud. Some people moved down there and weren't exactly happy about it, but there weren't as many as abandoned homes. A lot of the abandoned homes you see were sparingly, and over literally the 1998 to 2000 period, a lot of people began to move around the city, and more homes just became more abandoned and more abandoned and more abandoned, and kind of this dilapidation of Baltimore City. One thing about Baltimore City is, or why it's so poor, is because we don't have many businesses or many things that actually help produce the city income. I took it so far as to kind of look up like the history of Baltimore, and one day I found myself having a drawback and thinking, like, what was a kid like me supposed to do? What was supposed to be my goal? And you know, where was I supposed to work if I was to go to college and finish and get a degree. And I looked it up and it said agriculture, which makes no sense because there are a bunch of trees in Baltimore City that nobody takes care of. Even Baltimore City doesn't even come around and take care of our trees. A bunch of recreation centers that have patches of grass. Construction. If you've seen a construction project get finished in Baltimore City, you know the guy. Or you're in the wrong Baltimore. I'm just being completely honest with you. I ain't never seen nothing really get completely torn down or completely built up. Not too much. You know, it just rarely ever happens. Or, you know, the word isn't hospital, healthcare. You know, being a doctor or a lawyer and something I actually was interested in for a period of time. I actually did want to be a nurse. But, you know, those things aren't exactly supported by Baltimore City or the greater Baltimore area, GBA. And it's very, very difficult to do something like become a doctor, despite us having one of the best, you know, medical universities in the world, Johns Hopkins University. I don't think there's any stigma against people going against Johns Hopkins. I never heard anybody having a hard time, but it is very academically challenging. It is one of the best hospitals, and you know, you just don't hear about it, or there's no type of community. Baltimore is one of the most redline communities, well, redline cities, excuse me, in the world. You can walk in a neighborhood and, you know, see African Americans, whites, Hispanics, Latinos, and none of us really, you know, congregate. None of us really talk to each other. I don't want to say it's a disrespect for each other, but it is not somewhere like a New York or Miami or Los Angeles where it's a melting pot. Are there a mix of different races? Absolutely. But do we speak? Nah, not at all. And when you go through that, it kind of molds you and it makes you want for more. I think something that a lot of people want to do is leave Baltimore. Baltimore is actually present at the time of this recording video. It's we actually had our lowest population point, I think, per capita. You know, Baltimore's at 500,000, and when I try to stitch a video or stitch some videos and do what I was saying. Yeah, I'll try to stitch some videos and show you I don't want to say the real Baltimore because it just has a reputation for being dilapidated, you know. Certain parts of Baltimore look like a third world country. I ain't gonna lie to you. Some of them streets, some of them side streets, yeah, get scary, you know. But Baltimore is at a low point, you know, a real low point, real sad low point in its history. People just absolutely refusing to live here, and you know, it's kind of just sad when you grow up here. I think I had a point in my life where I kind of like refuted Baltimore and then grew to love my people, you know, in a different kind of way. You just grow up and realize there's no place like home. You know, that there's no place like living in Baltimore, and no place like living in your own culture. And I don't mean like, well, I guess I do kind of mean the African American sense, but that's not what I'm talking about. You know, I guess that ties into it. But like having your own city or having your own vibe, or just, you know, this own unique flavor that once you leave, you crave it. You know, you start to just, I want to be around Baltimore and move around Baltimore. There's nothing better than just walking on the harbor. And if you're from a place like Chicago or a place like Miami or a place like Toronto or one of these other major cities around the world, you just know, you know, Baltimore isn't just some small town. It's actually a pretty big area, you know. But and when I got to experience that, I remember walking the harbor as a kid, you know, in 2004 and 2006. I remember every single mall was full. I remember Towson Mall on a Saturday. Christmas shopping was like You know, if you just a kid and you experience that, or a young preteen or teenage years going to the mall doing that, you know, even during that time period is a hell of an experience, and it just, I think you kind of got to get older and kind of lose it a little bit, you know, and then you yearn for it. And one thing about me is I used to be that guy at the beginning of my life journey, like, man, I'm gonna get out of Baltimore and I'm gonna move to Florida, or I'm gonna move to Los Angeles. But as I got older, I want to stay, you know, and help change my city. You know, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I don't have a plan for it at all. I got a couple ideas, but you know, it's something I really hope to do, and just change my hometown. You know, I'll stitch some videos. You'll understand outside of the things like crime, because